Now, I have, liter-sized containers, but even these liter-sized containers cannot capture all of the liberal tears. Jimmy Kimmel actually started crying. No, I'm not being hyperbolic. He actually started crying on national TV. This is going to be, guys, the biggest problem the left is going to have to overcome, which is adjusting to the fact that to be good people, you have to be an individual and you have to debate with good ideas. This is something that they're not only unpracticed in, but that they don't believe in. And they haven't believed in this for years. Their technique for years has been, we're going to call you a bad person so that we don't have to contend with what you have to say or listen to you. Now, this strategy ended up breaking because they basically excluded themselves from the conversations with our intellectuals, from the conversations with Rogan, with all of the podcast circuits that ended up controlling the culture. And so due to the sheer numbers, they actually ironically excluded themselves from the conversation. Also, they had no ideas to put forward anyway if they wanted to, which is another reason why they weren't able to go on. Kamala Harris literally could have reached 10 million people on the low side just by going on Rogan, but her boss queen feminine energy or something wouldn't let her fly to Austin. So you see exactly what I'm saying. They think they don't have to engage with you, and then we see psychopathic stuff like this. Guys, today is such a good day. Yet again, in yesterday's video, I said the victory is going to be rolling in waves. And every time I go on X, which of course is now the news as well as social media, according to the numbers, I realize how much damage we've done to the left-wing ecosphere. They're in such throes of insanity. They're basically saying stuff like, "Oh my gosh, if you don't want people to cross the border, you're a rapist," or oh my gosh, women aren't going to be able to vote anymore. As I said in yesterday's video, we cannot wrap our minds around the totality of this victory. I was thinking about it last night, like, you realize that next year we're going to have deportations. Like, that's going to start, and there's millions of them. They let in 21 million illegal immigrants. The amount of deportation it's going to start, I mean, just to begin with, it's hundreds of thousands because we're starting with the violent criminals. But guys, that is literally like next year. It's like we're going to have Christmas every single day. Leftists are going to be trying to pretend as though this is, 1940. Meanwhile, we're undoing their attempts to destroy the country. And that's just one thing. Like, fluoride's going to be removed from the water. The world is quite literally about to change in every single way. The government is going to be, the bureaucracy is going to get destroyed. Elon Musk is going to decimate useless Karens with like nothing jobs that are just collecting checks from the government, because every single thing that's about to happen would be a massive deal and the defining success of a presidency if it were just by itself. And the left has built themselves on the sand rather than on the rock. They've built their house on the sand, and the storm's coming and it's going to wash them away, and they're crying because they can't argue with the storm anymore. They don't believe in arguing, and they've called the storm garbage. They've called us a lot of other things, but like I said, they don't believe in logic, merit, or systems of dealing with things. And I'll be really transparent here, guys. I have a lot of people, not only in my family, but in my social group, who are liberal, and some of them are very far liberal, and I haven't heard from any of them. It's almost like radio silence. They don't know how to live in this new paradigm of, yeah, we're going to force you to view us as our equals. But since you haven't for years, we took everything. Everything. The Senate, the House, the presidency, the popular vote. And on top of it, we're going to exercise consequences. But this video, there's some details which I want to cover, so let's just get into it. I could go on forever. Gavin Newsom has announced open rebellion to the federal government, which is very funny. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Let's go to X first. Gavin Newsom. He literally just tweeted this: California is ready to fight. Like, bro, you think these liberal soy boys? First of all, there are millions of Trump supporters in California. So what are you even doing? Also, we rejected these insane measures. I think Prop 36. We threw out the leftist GA. We blocked a bunch of his other, crazy plans. But I think it's all just too much for them to understand. It's too much for them to bear. And so right now they're like, oh my gosh, no, we still must be the good people. This is going to be, and I will repeat it probably for months, this is going to be, guys, the biggest problem the left is going to have to overcome, which is adjusting to the fact that to be good people, you have to be an individual and you have to debate with good ideas. This is something that they're not only unpracticed in, but that they don't believe in. And they haven't believed in this for years. Their technique for years has been, we're going to call you a bad person so that we don't have to contend with what you have to say or listen to you. Now, this strategy ended up breaking because they basically excluded themselves from the conversations with our intellectuals, from the conversations with Rogan, with all of the podcast circuits that ended up controlling the culture. And so, due to the sheer numbers, they actually, ironically, excluded themselves from the conversation. Also, they had no ideas to put forward anyway if they wanted to, which is another reason why they weren't able to go on. Kamala Harris literally could have reached 10 million people on the low side just by going on Rogan, but her boss queen feminine energy or something wouldn't let her fly to Austin. So you see exactly what I'm saying. They think they don't have to engage with you. And then we see psychopathic stuff like this. So Gavin Newsom is saying he's an open rebellion, that California's going to fight, that he's taking action to counter us. I just called an emergency special session to help bolster our legal resources and protect our state against any unlawful action by the incoming Trump administration. First of all, let's be absolutely clear. The power Gavin Newsom has in California is not even 5% of the enormous power Trump has. I want to be clear, guys. Trump could, with a order, federalize the National Guard and just take all of Gavin Newsom's soldiers. Also, LAPD endorsed Trump. Like, he has nothing. So there is no way to do this. He cannot actually resist Trump. There's so many different things. I mean, we saw this yesterday when I was talking about Latita James in New York. Trump could literally appoint someone who could fire her like instantly if he wanted to do that. There is nothing they can do at this point. We also control the Senate. So now I have, leader-sized containers, but even these leader-sized containers cannot capture all of the liberal tears that we are collecting, in this case, from the defamed Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel actually started crying. No, I'm not being hyperbolic. He actually started crying on national TV. God, what did we do to deserve this blessing? Oh, thank you. Okay.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking...
Okay, so first I'm going to let this play, and then I'm going to break it down the second time, all right? Here we go.
Immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science.
You can notice he's trying to gain some counterfeit virtue there. Anyway, I'll let it play.
For journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth. Let's be honest, it was
a bad night for Elmo, Sesame Street, it's not good. Anyway, Legoland's going to be shut down. Like, they're just looking for names to say. Ironically, every single thing he listed is going to go better than it was before by a tremendous amount. Is it not good for Ukraine for the war to end? It just doesn't make any sense. Trump is literally going to decrease tax on Social Security so seniors can keep more of their checks. So leftists are at war with reality. Let's start from the top, though. This is great.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night.
Oh my gosh. We worked so hard to overcome this leftist insanity, to make sure this leftist insanity did not cripple the future of the country, to not only give us a chance, but to save America. And that's exactly what we did. And these psychopaths failed. And that can never go away.
It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the...
So most women, and I want to say this because I've gotten a couple messages on Twitter being like, whenever I say, this was a massive victory for men. Men did this victory on X. I've been tweeting this. And I get a couple messages from women saying, but I voted for Trump too. Yeah, you did. Of course you did. That's because you're happy and you're a healthy woman who is married and doesn't resent reality, which is why what Jimmy Kimmel just said is wrong. What happened was an incredible thing for women because most women, when they're in their right minds, don't want to kill babies, as you know. There is a massive sick population of women that are possessed by ultimate resentment for reality. These are the women that are single. The reason they're single is literally because they hate reality and any form of coherence, because masculinity is a form of coherence. Women are naturally attracted to men because they bring order. They manifest order out of chaos. That's a functional definition for masculinity functioning. This is why they're single. They have cats. They don't have kids, obviously. Or if they do have kids, it's out of wedlock in a certain community. So when he's saying this was a bad night for women, what he's saying is this is a bad night for women's psychopathology that wants the world to be made in their degenerately female image. Healthy women, though, do not want to kill babies. Healthy women are attracted to men, and they want to be married, and they are married in many cases, of course.
Hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country.
Notice he said immigrants, not illegal immigrants, because the left doesn't believe in objective category, but it doesn't matter because we're about to educate them.
Here we go. For healthcare, for
all these illegal immigrants. It's crazy, dude. It's so nuts. How's the left serious? They're not serious. All these illegal immigrants we let in, we're not going to be able to keep them here. Like, has the leftist party ever not been the party of Jim Crow? It's crazy. We can't exploit them for their low wages. We should let anyone in, no border. You see, the concept of no border, again, it's direct warfare on masculinity. It's incredible. All of this I've talked about before, but now it's changed because this model has been proven to be broken. We broke them when they tried to run this model. Their warfare on reality failed. They will have to reintegrate themselves with reality now.
climate.
So the climate, yeah, we're not worried about the ocean rising a couple centimeters. What we are worried about the climate, however, is nuclear war, which would absolutely heat the climate in a matter of seconds. So we're going to avoid nuclear war. We also don't want to buy Jeeps that are electric. No one wants electric Jeeps. You know what I mean? Get rid of the mandate. No one wants to drive a fucking Ford F-150 that looks like a toaster. Anyway.
For science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people.
What are you even talking about? Poor people voted for him, dude. Oh my gosh. They're so narcissistic and psychopathic. They think they're better than you. They think they should be able to decide for you. Of course they do. They're in Hollywood. They believe this. But their system for controlling people failed. They literally had every celebrity endorse Kamala, and it did nothing. So they're still coping. This is a form of grieving that we're seeing. It just happens to be on national television. But you get this gift of seeing them dealing with this fact. Now, will they overcome, obviously, the lies that they've told themselves? The answer is not necessarily. Some of them will. Others, however, will go down the hole of insanity. So this is what we see when we look in history in terms of Marxist possession. Some people are so possessed with resentment and so aligned against the individual that they can never reconceptualize themselves in the world in terms of meritocratic hierarchies and in terms of the individual. So some people cannot be saved, but it doesn't matter because we don't need Jimmy Kimmel, right? So this is interesting, though, because it shows the psychopathology on display.
For the middle class, for seniors.
So the middle class is going to have their taxes reduced and live in safer societies. Again, most people want to live in safe societies. In San Francisco, you expect your car to get broken into. Tim Dillon talked about this on Joe Rogan's podcast. The left just has declared extreme warfare on category and objectivism. Tim Dillon didn't exactly say it like this, but the left has declared such warfare on category and objective reality that they can't even say we're going to enforce a border or we're going to enforce laws because those things would infuriate their base. That's how far their base has collapsed from reality.
Years to rely on Social Security
Again, he's decreasing the taxes on Social Security. So Jimmy Kimmel is just
our allies in Ukraine.
So it's better for the war to end. This guy's a psychopath.
For NATO.
So NATO is literally protected by us. They should be paying us. So again, we should put Americans first, not other countries. Not that I have to debate this guy, but it's just funny because we won and they didn't try to debate us for years in a row. It's still funny to debunk them.
Let's be honest.
And all the clapping and such cope, it's really funny. So yeah, California doesn't really have values, but they're being judged, and they're going to be judged very, very harshly. And all of us that voted for the judgment in California are looking forward to that. We're seeing here a bunch of California values.
I will always lead the California way.
Nice.
I say that's the California way.
Guys are really awesome. Thank you so much.
Based on compassion.
I mean, if we're going to be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here.
common sense.
Clean and sober is one of the biggest damn mistakes this country's ever made. We all need to self-medicate periodically.
Telling the truth. Telling the truth. Treasuring our diversity.
Use the fist to hit my...
Telling the truth. Following science. Protecting our planet.
Love like yours will surely come by.
So the leftist problem is that they demonize reality and that they construe objective parameters as oppressive. So us pointing this out in their mind has no relationship with truth because their ideology is the arbiter of truth. This is why the result of this election is so hard for them to bear, because it's a reminder that broaches their bubble, their echo chamber, that their ideology is not the arbiter of truth, and it's something else. It's still mysterious to them. They don't know what it is. Us on the outside, we've been engaging with it for a long time. It's called logic. It's called reason. It's called not being indoctrinated, not being a part of a cult that says, oh my gosh, depending on how victimized you are, that's your good person status. We don't do any of that. But when we point this out, they just get upset. They say we don't have to debate you because you're worse than us. Now, of course, we don't have to debate them because we beat them and have all the power. I don't like saying that, though, because the goal wasn't just to get power. The goal was to save everyone. So we did what was necessary, and their lack of competence and virtue earns them no influence. That's a better way of saying it. So this is it. Yeah, this is another interesting graph that's going around. I think Roseanne Barr tweeted this originally. Here's how it went in 2020, just 4 years ago, and here's how it went in 2024. As you can see, that's a very encouraging trend. Also, another fun fact is that because populations in red states are increasing and populations in blue states are decreasing, I wonder why that is, especially in terms of births. By the year 2030, red states are projected to gain about 12 electoral points from blue states. So, California passed Prop 36 to increase criminal penalties for shoplifting and fentanyl trafficking. Basically, if you commit petty crime, you should be prosecuted. And we got rid of the leftist GA and replaced him with a conservative one. So this is Gavin Newsom in his feelings, of course, because the fact that we're going to be able to distinguish between right and wrong enrages the left on every level of analysis for the same reason I described earlier. Oh, here it is. We flipped another Senate seat 7 minutes ago, just updated. You're getting it live in this video. In Pennsylvania, we flipped another Senate seat. Josh Shapiro has been defeated. Wow. Wow. That's incredible. Everyone thank Elon Musk. You know, impressive men really saved this election. We have a ex-CNN employee crying, this is so glorious, dude. There will be a journalist brain drain in D.C. A talent agent said what I've also heard anecdotally. A lot of reporters are questioning if they have it in them to report on Trump. So the reason why they find it so futile is because this is his second term. He can do whatever he wants. And he doesn't care what they think. And also, the American people don't care what they think because they get their information from Rogan and from Elon Musk and on X and on channels like this. So, oh, it's so good. Basically, what they're doing every single time a journalist writes an article is they're presenting a small instance of the left psychopathology. Oh my gosh, we believe you still agree with us even though we demonize you endlessly and hate truth. Like, it's not going well for him. Not going well for him. This is interesting. The kid that I went to school with, Xavier, we both went to Crossroads. He was a 9th grader when I was a 12th grader. I had a conversation with him. There's a video actually pinned on my channel. You can go watch it if you're interested. Elon Musk's transgender child announces they're leaving the U.S. after Trump's presidential win. Obviously, they spend so much time demonizing their father that to see their father not only is the most impressive man in the world who changed the election, but also in the government would be too much to bear. So, again, the leftist corrodes the mind. It sort of infects the host to make them resent objective reality. And so that's what you're seeing here, of course. By the way, imagine having your last name be Musk, having access to unlimited funds and unlimited connections, and the only thing you do is cut your off. How much? Think of that failure. You could do anything. You could build anything, start any company, but no, what you do is cut your off. That's the resentment of the left. That's how they destroy lives. That's the power of Marxist resentment. So they obviously destroy lives. They make people reject individual identity, reject the notion of striving in a meritocratic hierarchy. And then because they're destroyed and are separated with all those mechanisms, they want to destroy them in other people because if other people succeed, those people are embodying, again, how leftism is wrong. This is the reason why they hate embodiments of masculine impressiveness, and like such as Andrew Tate. And you see women very strangely, but it's not so strange if you understand it, saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to divorce my husband now after Trump wins. Because what they're actually warring with is objective parameters, which means masculinity. So this is the reason why leftists can't stand masculinity, why they can't stand men who better themselves and embody excellence. Here's the statement. I've thought about this for a while, but yesterday confirmed it for me. I don't see my future being in the United States, even if he's only in office for 4 years. Notice how it's just he's, because, oh my gosh, the enemy. Oh my gosh, the enemy is the reason I'm leaving. Even if the anti-trans regulations magically don't happen. Okay, so yeah, they're suffering from figments of their imagination. Still, the people who willingly voted for this are not going anywhere anytime soon. He's right about that. We're not, because reality needs saving. And you can see in this image here, Elon Musk is with his son, holding his son in his arms, knowing that he's got to spend a lot of time with this one so that, you know, it doesn't hate him later in alignment with left-wing programming. I also highly doubt that he would send this to a left-wing high school like the first time. A lot of interesting things happening. I appreciate all of you watching, and subscribe to the channel. It's just heating up, bro.